Hello, friends. Nilay Patel here, your neighborhood-friendly designer over at SilverSilk and more. And I want to welcome you guys to another fabulous Tuesday tutorial. These tutorials are so fun. I have them every Tuesday here on Facebook at 5:30 Central Time in the evening. And I've always got something cool, something new, a fun new project just raring to go. Try and keep it innovative, fun. Hey ladies, I can see some friends already tuning in. Em is here in the house. We got Teresa and Gretchen, I'm sure. I hope you ladies are doing well, staying safe. There's my friend Tracy. I'm so glad you guys can join me from week to week. It really means a whole lot, and I hope that you guys leave inspired and motivated to try new designs. I was actually enjoying last week's show because I left thinking about more ideas that I could do for myself with SilverSilk and things that I would wear. And I actually made this the other day that I really love. I got to use some Tiara cast components, some seed beads, and some antique copper capture chain that I had. So I really love the look of this. And I'll continue to make more shows dedicated to menswear later down the road whenever I can get production underway. Hey, Pamage, and Softflex is here too. Speaking of, I've got a very special show planned today. We're going to be opening up the Fleur design kit from Softflex. Now, they do mystery kits as well, and I love their themes so much. They have some brilliant ideas, and it's very much on target for whatever the season is. So this kit, La Fleur, particularly celebrates springtime and flowers, and they had a reveal already, but they had a kit, I guess, left over, and so they sent one over. So I wanted to open it up with you guys and make a few things out of it, talk through some of their products that they include, and of course their beading wire, which I'm in love with. And speaking of mystery kit, my kit for the month of June is finally out. It's called Tokyo Nights, and I wanted to do something really different and challenge myself as a designer and challenge you guys to try and work with products and items that you're not normally familiar with. And so I included a few different things in this kit. None of my kits are ever going to be the same product-wise, and so I think there'll be some fun surprises in here, and if you certainly tune into the shows, you'll see what I can do with it, and I know that'll inspire you guys to try some designs of your own using the materials that are included in there. So check it out, Tokyo Nights. You can grab that at www.silversilkonline.com. But I'm going to flip the camera over and I'm going to talk more about Softflex. And if you guys wouldn't mind giving a quick share to our bead buddies out there, that would be awesome. Here it is. Isn't it beautifully packaged? Now, I have to admit, I did open it up because I was curious to see what was inside. But I remember seeing the show not too long ago that I believe Sarah opened it up and made something from it. And it was also an attached list of materials, as you can see. So there's quite a bit of stuff to work with, and you definitely leave feeling like not leave the kit, I guess, but you've definitely opened the kit to expect to make several designs that with just the components in there. So I think that's a really fun idea. And then there's always a design challenge, which involves making a project from the kit. And then, of course, being inspired at the show that they do at the end of the month, but also posting it to their VIB, which stands for Very Important Beader Facebook group. And I think that that's a really fun concept, and it's very much in line with what SilverSilk does, and I think that creativity expands out to all areas of different types of businesses. So I think that's really awesome. On the note of mystery kits, because I'm going to open this one up, tomorrow, I've written this down because there was a lot of notes happening. Tomorrow, they are revealing their Amazon Princess kit, which was this month's kit, I believe. And the same day, they're going to do orders for their new kit for the following month called Purple Polka Dot. So all really fun themes. And I just wanted to share that with you guys real quick. Okay. So back into this La Fleur design kit from Softflex. And of course I'm going to use SilverSilk product with this because I think it's going to marry so well together. Hey, Amelia, I hope you're doing well. I miss you and the gals here in Tulsa. Thanks for sharing, Em. I appreciate that. In opening this up, this is really awesome already because you get 10 feet of the color, which is part of the theme. In this case, it's the bone color, and I think it's going to coordinate really well. It's a beautiful soft white that I think goes with this pink, sort of pink and turquoise theme. But you get 3 strands of check glass, which is absolutely fun. I had a really great idea for these disc beads that I think I'm going to do. That I'll probably sketch out before I do that. They include findings. So here you get 20 2mm crimps, as well as some earring hooks and some, looks like you get a little clasp in there, and then you get these really great, and I'm probably thinking these are tiara cast. We got to get the girls together again at some point, Amelia. I think it'd be nice to have a reunion because I think it's been, like 10 years since I taught at Tulsa Technology Center. It was a really, really fun class. One of my best classes ever that you got to be a part of. So these are some tiara cast components. And that's what I'm thinking they are, but I think Softflex is on here so they can correct me if I'm wrong. But these are going to make some really cool, maybe earrings, or I think I remember Sarah doing a bracelet, but of course I want my projects to be a little different from hers. So let's see, we've got some seed beads, of course, a nice coordinated color. This looks to be a deep rose tiny seed beads is what the list says. So isn't that just a gorgeous color though? Look at that. Delightful. Now, they're all sold out of this kit, but the Amazon Princess, as well as the polka dot, purple polka dot, they've got some stock left for that. But this just gives you sort of a nice tease of what their kits are all about, a good flavor. Look at all these beautiful gemstone beads. Now, these are powder blue jasper, which are these right here. And I really love these because they look so much like earth and sea together. That's just my interpretation and takeaway from it. Hey, Edith from Mexico City. My goodness. We're all from everywhere. That's so exciting. And let's see, we've got, oh, these are tiara cast components. Okay, I'm reading from the list here that I was given. So we've also got, it looks like some morganite polished different size nuggets, which I guess that's what these little guys are. Isn't that beautiful? It looks very pastel and just soft, and again, I think it just coordinates so well with the bone color. So lots of things. Oh, I can't forget about, I almost forgot about this, you guys. How could I forget about something this giant bead mix from none other than Jesse James Beads. I really want to take this out and spill them all over my table, which is inevitably going to happen. So let me see if I could find something strategic to put it in. Let me use this box lid. There we go. Okay. Ooh, look at that. So you can always expect some really cool stuff in their bead mixes. Particularly, you got these really great acrylic roses that I love, and I think really capture what this design kit's going for. So you get a really cool mom charm and some check glass and some tassels. So really great variety of components here that I'm excited to work with. So let's get to designing with SilverSilk because that's what we're all here for, right? Some new ideas. And design doesn't have to be complicated. As you guys saw last week, whenever I did the menswear, I kept it really simple and I was able to create a lot of volume in a short amount of time. A lot of product, a lot of designs. So I had thought about this kit, and what appealed to me was the two-tone capture chain, which is a gold-colored ball chain inside of a 6-needle knitted sleeve. And my product is machine knit. It's super soft, super supple. You can cut it and it doesn't fray. It's permanently enameled, so the color's not going to wear out for a very, very, very long time. And it's metallic, which I think is just such a great way to engineer a chain and something that you've never really seen that's out there before. So I was very lucky to continue this product. So what I thought was I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to create a necklace as my first project. So what I have in mind to do this, and I already kind of sketched it out earlier, but I'm going to do a new sketch because that one was an awful sketch. What I'm thinking is that I would love to do a triple strand because I feel like I hardly do them. But I'm going to do 2 simple chains on the inside, connect everything here at the top. Get 2 chains in there. And then for my third one, I think what I want to do is meet it down here in the middle. I'm going to then switch to single strand end caps. And those would be my custom made end caps. And then what I thought about doing down here is I could probably take these round disc beads and create some really dramatic figure 8s out of the bone beading wire and connect them together. Maybe they're different sizes mixed in. I think it would just make a really fun, unusual pendant that would give a little bit of design. Well, I wouldn't say a little bit of design. It has a lot of it of design. But I think it would give it some interesting visual texture, I think is the phrasing that I'm going for. So hopefully it'll work out. I'm going to give it a try. There's just some simpler techniques involved to make this, so I don't think it's going to be super complicated to assemble it. So I'm just going to leave that here to the side and try and design with that in mind. So the first thing I think I'm going to do is assemble the base structure of my necklace. And so as I mentioned, I'm going to have a triple strand necklace. So I'm going to grab some capture chain. My two-tone capture chain, that's the particular color here, comes in a 3-foot spool, and you can definitely more than likely make this necklace out of just that one spool. Or leftovers if you've got it, because what I'm using today is actually just some scraps that I had on hand. And then I'll just, modify it a little bit later. Now, I had mentioned triple strand end caps, which is what these are. And these are custom made. As you can see, it's got my SilverSilk logo on it that's stamped into the metal. And the plating is also custom. And it's got 3 different notches with teeth inside of it. So what happens is that whenever I'm actually assembling all of this together, it will grasp onto the interior ball chain and permanently hold it in place. And what's great is I don't need any glue or anything outside of just my nylon jaw pliers to crimp this down. Super easy once you fit it in there, of course. And simply just grab a pair of nylon jaw pliers. The reason is you want something, and you could use chain nose pliers, but only if they're really coated and something on the tip. What happens is if I use just metal on metal and then I try and press it down as such, it would leave a dent in my little crimp here. And I don't really want it to do that. It would look like a mistake, and I definitely spend a lot of money on these findings, so I want to keep it as nice and polished looking as possible. So I recommend going with the nylon jaw pliers. It might seem a little awkward to crimp them at first, but if you get enough tries in, and even if you slip off by accident, it's not going to cause any abrasion. So you can kind of, have your way with the finding there and get it to crimp as best as you can without hurting it. So that's the good news. Okay, and what I'm going to do is kind of line all of my capture chains out on the table. I definitely want to lay this flat as I'm working with it, because whenever I don't do that, I can tell you from experience that my chains are not going to line up exactly where I wanted them. So my preference would be to work directly on the table or a bead mat or some sort of surface to make it work and make it staggered the way that you want it to. Now I do want to give myself a little bit of extra room, I think, down here. So before I crimp the other side, I'm just gonna work with the one side being crimped. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it down here. So I'm gonna move my camera up a little bit, move this up so I can give myself some space and so you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. As I mentioned down here, it's gonna be crimped with the single strand end cap, which looks like this. And let me go ahead and get those out. There we go. That's where my design for my pendant area is going to start. So I can go ahead and clip this off right over here. What I'll do is before I attach my end cap, I'm going to measure out the same exact measure here. That was a little redundant, but bear with me. The reason being is that I want to make sure that all of my crimps are well aligned, that all of my measurements are correct and symmetrical with each other. So I'll go ahead and attach my end cap, and I can do that to both pieces at this point. Just like that. You see how it slipped? But that's okay, it doesn't matter because my finding is not scratched. It is still retaining its beauty. So now what I want to do is, I think I'm gonna fold it in half. Kind of get all of my pieces here aligned. Let me get those nuggets in the way. And then what I can do is kind of pick it up from where it was on the table and just snip it off there. There we go. So now I can attach my other triple strand end cap. Now, if you've got a shorter necklace and don't know what to do, so for example, if I wanted this longer, and if it's not going to fit properly, you can absolutely add some chain here at the end. And I would recommend using a thicker gold colored chain to kind of give yourself maybe a few inches of extra necklace rope. I think that would end it very elegantly, and it'd be behind the neck essentially. So it works either way. All right, so now I'm gonna scoot this up, and as you can see, my triple strand layout is working quite well. I can start on my embellishments. So what I'm gonna do is move some of this stuff to the side, and I'm gonna get to work on these beautiful disc beads. I should be reading some of the comments as I'm blabbering here, but Softflex is being really kind to answer questions, so I appreciate that. And I saw Kristen pop on too, so shout out to you as well. And I think James Browning is also on from Softflex, so I appreciate his presence on here too, and I'm sure he'll be chiming in to answer some questions about where you can pick up these beautiful kits. Okay, so I need some bone-colored Softflex wire. This is size medium, which is their sort of big selling item, is the medium-sized beading wire, just because it's so versatile. You can use it with smaller gemstone beads, as we saw here earlier, all the way to larger, heavier stone beads or glass beads that might be in a bead mix. And it's just a really, really great nylon-coated and permanently colored beading wire. Nothing else out there could compare, in my opinion, to the superior quality. And if you are making quality jewelry, you definitely want to work with materials that you will get a really good finish from. Okay, so I'm trying to think measurement-wise and how to explain that to you guys. What I think the best answer to that is if I work in 5 inches, let's just start there. My loop at the top for my connectors should be pretty tiny. I don't want it to show very much. I'm actually going to switch, because I'm using gold colored findings to gold crimps, still in the SilverSilk family, of course. Luckily, I just had enough to make this project, but I can definitely switch to silver as my chain here has silver in it. Ultimately, I guess it doesn't really matter, but to me, I wanted to use gold, so that's just up to you guys. But I am using 2mm crimps, and all I'm going to do is I cut 5 inches off. I'm going to string my crimp in, then I'm going to string back through on one of the ends of my SilverSilk wire. Now I want to do probably about that much, which is close to 6mm. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is string on a little disc bead. And then I'm going to string back through the crimp. This can be a little bit tedious at first, but again, just kind of getting the flow and making sure that you're comfortable with the technique and just getting a feel for it is really going to be the hard work. You can either align your wire up to meet the edge of the crimp, which is what I did here. That takes practice, I will not lie. Or you can have the wire extend out above the crimp and then just trim it off later. There's really no right or wrong way to it. It's just whatever your preference is and whatever your comfort level is with that. Now this is going to be one of my bigger loops for my pendant here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and use this as sort of my sort of the gauge to what to make the other sizes at. And I'm also using my magical crimpers, which are also available on SilverSilkCompany.com. Now, to use these, you simply just stick it into the singular only notch that's in there, which is a round divot. You want to make sure that your crimp is definitely all the way in, and then you just give it a good press. It pinches the corners down, so you can see a very specific box, as you can kind of tell from my visual there. And then what you do is you just kind of turn it on its side in quarters and just start to pinch it around and around, making sure that it does work inside of the notch there. But the magical part of this, and pun intended, is that it turns into a little bead. So it's not your average looking basic crimp. I mean, this really transforms a crimp into something that is aesthetically pleasing and will definitely add some extra value to your design. So now what I can do is create my other petals based on that. And I think 5 inch for me was a really good measurement. So I'm going to continue that and just work with that wire and trimming as much as I need to achieve different sizes. So once again, I'll go back through, adjust my loop, and I want to make sure that it is around the same size. So I'll probably take a little bit of extra time and effort just to make sure that that looks right. And then I'll string on another one of these disc beads. And then I'll just string back through my crimp here. If it twists up like, I guess it's not doing that too bad right now. If it, yeah, see, it's wanting to twist up. So what I'm gonna do is basically adjust for that and kind of work a few of the wires around, move things as I need to. I definitely want it to be as flat as possible while I'm working. Cool. There we go. So that's another one. And again, just making sure that everything stays nice and flat, going back into my magical crimpers. The trick to using these is really to make sure that that crimp is really as inside of that notch as possible. I have screwed up many crimps throughout my crimping process, and it took a while for me to even love the magical crimpers, as Kristen and Sarah and basically everyone from SilverSilk can attest to. But, well, you know, I gave it a chance and kept going at it, and it actually became my favorite type of crimper. and only because, again, it adds that really aesthetically pleasing touch to it. And I know it's very secure because it's all compressed together. So this is what I meant by my post saying the power of repetition. It's so great whenever you learn a versatile, cool technique that you can kind of just do over and over again, and it, depending on how you use it, changes the effects of, or really transforms, I guess, your design into something else. I'm purposely making these all different sizes for fun. There's no rhyme or reason. Your design, you make it whatever you want it to be. But I think that's going to look really good, especially when I get several of those together. I could even take this up a notch if I wanted to move this down a little bit and add in maybe a couple of these stones in between, which actually I kind of like that. I think that would look really cool. And then I get like all of this sort of cascading here at the bottom. I think that would look really nice. I'm gonna give it a try. And it would add a little pop of color, because I think that's what this design was missing too. Hey, Mary Ellen, I hope you're well. I enjoy seeing your posts. Seems like you're having fun, even in quarantine. Okay. There we go. All right. And you can kind of make up how many, there's like, again, no real right or wrong answer to how many. I prefer to have an odd number just because that's one of those rules of feng shui, I guess, or even in aesthetics and art, is that for some unwritten rule of a reason that odd numbers seem to be more pleasing. I guess because there's a center to odd numbers, whereas even numbers don't really have a center, so you could think of it that way. But that's, I guess, the one rule that I tend to follow is working with odd numbers and stuff. But again, it's all up to you guys. So this one looks like it's twisting around, so I'm just gonna take it out and readjust. Super easy to do. Brilliant. And I think I want this to be a longer petal. So I'm going to make all of that nice and tucked in. And go back in with my crimpers. There we go. Marisol says, the more I'm looking at that bone color, the more I love it. It's one of those colors that's just a great neutral color, I think, and just depends what you pair it with. I, at first glance, didn't think that I would actually mix it with, I was gonna actually use rose gold flat mesh, which I've actually got a project plan for that. But that would have been, I think, the obvious choice in the realm of SilverSilk to go with, as well as the bone, just because that's so inherently in this Fleur color palette. But on second glance, I was like, you know, the two-tone doesn't look half bad with it, so it just seemed to work out. So I guess my point being is that you could really pair it with quite a few different types of colors that you wouldn't normally pair it with. And it transforms the material into something else. There we go. And actually what I'm gonna do is fix that. There we go. I love how Soft Flex Wire works with SilverSilk, you guys. Like, I can't tell you how many designs I've made with the two products, but it's that easy to do that. It's not overly complicated to combine it as I would imagine it would be. You could definitely amplify or simplify your design and mix the chains and beading wire together, and it always adds for a really fun effect. I've always surprised myself at how many things I'm able to design with it. So I'm going to do a couple smaller ones. I've got 5 here. I can always double layer them if I want something even more dramatic. So that's an idea. I don't know if I want to do that now or not. So many ways to do this. I could see my loop here is a little inconsistent, so I might have to mix these up a little bit to make sure that it's not so obvious. There we go. Oh, that's really sweet. SilverSilk says, "You surprise us too, such an inspiring designer." You guys have some strong designers on your side too, so it's just an easy collaborative effort from both sides for sure. Okay, like that. That looks nice. And that loop is probably more the correct size that I was going for here originally. Beautiful. This method, because I'm working directly off the spool, as you can see, I've just been cutting it off there. And, you know, in the 5-inch increments, I feel like I'm not wasting a whole lot of wire, which is important for me. I want to make sure that I can stretch out all of the items from the kits as much as possible and make a lot of designs from it and really get that instant gratification from it that I think is important as well as fashion. Feeling good and feeling like I've accomplished something great today. As I did last week too, because I created, you guys, like 6 or 7 designs in less than an hour, and that's wild. Everything from stringing to like wire, we were wire wrapping. I highly recommend you guys check it out. It was quite a, I don't know, not intimidating necessarily, but just really challenging. But you can check it out on YouTube. I have it uploaded to the SilverSilk and More YouTube channel, or I've started a tutorials blog on my website on silversilkonline.com. And Softflex is quite generous to also include me in their blog posts, so you'll definitely want to check them out there too. So really, I guess what I'm saying is I'm all over the place, per usual. Something about me is usually all over the place, so what can you do? But follow and subscribe, right? Okay, so that looks good to me. Okay. And I really just went back through and crimped it a few times. You don't need to over crimp or anything like that. I probably did it like 3 turns and it was really secure. So just something to keep in mind, that it's not one of those things that you have to spend a whole lot of time doing. Let's see. So what I'm gonna do is pick my larger ones and kind of design from the center out. So I had made up a bunch, which is what I wanted to do. And now I can kind of assemble based on that, just to kind of see if they fall into the right place. I think a couple of these are going to be double layered, which is perfectly fine. My temptation would be to make one more to even just kind of double up on that one. maybe make it a little bit shorter. So let's do one quick one, and then I'm gonna show you how to put all of this together. But I think this looks really cool. It almost looks like a shell, which is not something that I really anticipated, but kind of digging. Okay, where are my clips? There they are. Oh, thanks guys. I appreciate that you loved all of the men's designs too. I finally have stuff I can wear, bottom line. And I felt like I left the video feeling inspired too. I made a lot of stuff. A couple of those things maybe aren't quite to my taste yet, but it definitely gave me more ideas than what I had started with, which was important for kind of re-envisioning some other things that I would wear. Let's see. Okay, string that through. And oops, that one came out, but that's okay because I think it was twisting anyway. So I'm going to take this back down, and then we're gonna figure out a size that works. So I think I'm gonna go with that smaller size as it is right now. Looks really good. I'm gonna go back through and crimp this a few times. You can definitely tug on it and check to see if it's not gonna fall apart. So far, all of mine have been holding up, and I've done pretty much what I think is minimal effort to crimp it. I'm gonna go through with some jump rings. I've grabbed some jump rings from my SilverSilk stash, and now I'm gonna connect everything together. I will have to wire wrap, let's make sure that we got all this organized here. I will have to wire wrap those little, they're not really little, I guess, the stone beads here. Okay, I'm gonna attach these together. What I'm thinking is that I can make a chain out of this. There we go. And then the chain will attach to either side of my necklace. And I get that pop of gold in between my design as well, so it enhances, I think, it's sometimes unintentional and sometimes it is intentional to think of these little details, but whenever it does work out, it's quite nice. I definitely love that there's gold throughout my design. It'll be fun to wear it too because it has a lot of movement. But I'm gonna have to connect this onto something and go for it to lay flat. Figure it out as we go though. Okay, let me see if I can connect this. Awesome, okay. Sorry, I was just kind of piddling with it to see where I was gonna connect. There we go. Stick that through there, and one on here, and then we'll wire up the ends there, get it all cleaned up. So I'm just gonna grab some, I guess I'm gonna grab some 22 gauge wire. Melody is asking a question. I get confused as to what application closed rings are for. I've had them for years. Closed rings are essentially jump rings, but they've been soldered around completely. And that's a good question, Melody, because it really depends on what sort of design you're going for and what sort of application you're using it in. And so I guess the simplest application is probably a great jump ring for earrings. And so if you're attaching, like for example, if you've got an earring hook, I gotta draw this out now, because that's the only way to really illustrate it, I think. If you've got an earring hook, right? Well, you can attach your soldered jump ring or your closed jump ring or closed ring to that, and then go back through and create little wire wrap beads around it. The reason for this is that you have really good security. Sometimes those rings tend to have a little bit of design to them so that they look twisted or something. But I think that's just an easy way to create a link, to connect links together for something, and to make sure that, well, to really know that it's not going to come apart. Hopefully that, answers your question in some regard. Like I said, it kind of just depends on what application or what format you're wanting to make. If you specifically say a necklace, then, we can definitely come up with quite a few designs for that. So, okay, I am going to create this little wire wrap loop that'll connect to my jump ring too. And go ahead and string it through my glass bead here. Now I will say one side is larger than the other, and what I'm doing is pointing the side that's smaller down towards the pendant, so that's just something to keep in mind as you're working on this. And actually, I don't want to trim it. I'm gonna go back through and make a little wire wrap loop. What I did was I just followed my wire around the round nose pliers, give myself a nice good size loop. I'm just gonna open it up slightly and string my end cap right through it. Go back in and kind of press it back down, get it ready to be wrapped forever and ever. There we go. And I generally do 2 to 3 wraps, pretty easy. No need to do too many, because otherwise you'll have a very long extended neck, which might look a little awkward with the design. Really the wire wrap loop, how I've used it is just for security and making sure that it is not going to come apart, whereas simple loops tend to be a little bit more minimalist and great for lighter weight jewelry pieces. And in this case, because I'm using a larger glass bead, I'm going to use a little bit of an advanced method for securing that. There we go. It's got a little bit sticking out, so I'm just going to do my best to press it in. Okay, so now I got to find that original loop, or jump ring. Go back through and open it up. String this through. And close it. Now I didn't use tools, I used my fingernails. Probably ill-advised to do that, but please do as you choose to. Sometimes I use my tools and sometimes I don't. Just really depends. So that looks really good. I like how all this just kind of fans out magically. Beautiful. So now I'll just attach the other side right here all together. So I'll leave that out. And then I'm going to do this fairly quickly since we're sort of already explained with the other side there. So I'll make a wire wrap loop. By the way, I'm using 22 gauge wire. I don't think I said that earlier, so I apologize. And so just, yeah, some extra information for you there. I'm glad you guys are loving this. I appreciate that. I never really truly know what my designs are going to look like in the end, and sometimes I love it, and sometimes I'm just like, well, what did I create? I think we all have those moments, though. And sometimes I go back in after a video is filmed and, you know, make some tweaks here and there to kind of get it polished up or finished, as I can kind of sit there and think about it without the instantaneous videos that we do here. Let's see, so I'm gonna slip that in. Give that a good wire wrapping. And I'm gonna trim this off. Trim and tuck. That's what I always say. Fabulous. So I'm just gonna untangle this, shake it out, and go back through and attach my jump ring on. The thing with my jump rings, it's really hard to see where the seam is sometimes, so it's a bit of a guessing game, but when I find it, pretty good. All right. So I'll just kind of shake this out, realign it, and see if everything kind of works. If it doesn't, I can go back through and kind of attach and see where I think it needs to be aligned. This might not be dropping as well as I had hoped, but I can kind of go back through and mess around and see if it just is a matter of me adding more volume or, you know, kind of positioning things out. So I'll figure it out. But in any case, if you love that this is triple strands of the capture chain, and I like how these colors kind of pop together. So I just need to attach a clasp onto it, and I think it'll be quite cool. And again, I'll probably go back and readdress how this is going to work. It hasn't quite lined up the way that I wanted it to. But that's right, we're going to move on. So I have another project in mind, and that is, I think I had some earrings planned. So let me see. And I'm going to continue the theme of triple strand end caps, but I really wanted to use some of these guys, and I wanted to use those fan-shaped tiara cast components. This right here, beautiful stuff. Love it, love it. I also really like these. I really badly want to use them for something, and now I'm not sure what I want to use it for, but it'll come to me. It was still early, right? So I'm gonna switch to another type of chain called Urban, and this one has dark rhodium plated ball chain inside of a silver knitted sleeve. Super, super cool. I think it just gives a really good, I don't know, a sort of a patina to a silver without actually putting a patina on it, but you could kind of see how well that works with that tiara cast component in the kit. And so I thought I'd bring it out and we could do something together with it. I do wish I had my, I think, looking for some head pins, and I'm needing a specific color. Let me see if I can grab that real quick while I'm thinking about it. And in the meantime, here we go. I have an idea that involves some extra technique to achieve a look. And to do this. It's going to be fairly easy. But what I'm thinking is that if I wipe this out of the way, use my triple strand end cap, I could suspend one of those stones from the center of that triple notch. See that center in there? Just 3 of them. And then have my knitted wire chain on the 2 outside channels, and then I can actually attach with a jump ring that beautiful tiara cast component. I think that'll make for a really easy dynamic earring. Just a little bit of technique involved, but we're gonna work it out. So the first thing I wanna do is sift through my stones and find 2 similar ones. They don't, of course, have to be similar, but I'm thinking for this one, it might work the best to have them that way. So I'm thinking like these 2 are really pretty. Let's go with those. And what I'm gonna do is string it onto a head pin. My head pins in particular have a little ball at the end. It just depends on if you want that little aesthetic part to show or not. And then what I'm gonna do is cut it off at the top. This part is, I think, the most crucial into making a really decent sized, and by that I mean like a 1 to 2 millimeter little eye pin at the top. And I'm purposely leaving a bit of space between where the stone top is, and where the bottom part of my loop is. And the reason that I want to do that is that it's gonna have to fit inside of that middle channel, and I want to make sure that I accommodate the space for that. So hopefully that will stay. We will test it out and see. I know for sure I'm just gonna need a little bit of this urban chain, so let's go ahead and measure. That looks about right to me, but we'll say 2 inches. Right there. I'm gonna go ahead and trim it. You can give yourself a little bit more ball chain if you need to. I think in this case, probably 2 inches is gonna be sufficient. Okay, and then go ahead and cut the other earring chain as well. And in fact, while I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and do a simple loop on this guy. Just get it all attached. How much space I'm leaving is probably a question that you guys have. So we're gonna say a 1/2 inch, as you can see. Sarah says we should do a Zoom design meeting together. I say absolutely. I would 1000% be into that. I know that's been sort of the newer trend with Jesse James beads, and I think you guys have experimented a couple times as well. So yeah, I'd totally be down for it. I would love to do that. I know my bead tour, as I've been calling it, starts again next week, actually, because I'll be opening up the kit. It might be a little bit too much space. I'll be opening up my Tokyo Nights kit and making some stuff from it, and definitely going to be using some soft flex beading wire in with those projects as well. Oh my gosh, I've got so many fun things designed for that, though. Some of it will work and some of it won't, per usual. But that's the fun part, is you never really know what's going to happen. So it's, trial and error. Okay, so now it's time to assemble everything together. I'm going to stick the capture chain inside of the 2 outer notches. Put this in the middle. So we're going to see if all this crimps together friendly-like. Making sure that it all stays in place. Ooh, beautiful. So yeah, that looks really good to me. I went a little too smooth, so I'm very suspicious. Maybe I just got my finger work down pretty good today. Sometimes it's not always as easy. Okay. Go. quite hold as well. Oh, yeah, it did. Just kidding. I didn't squeeze down all the way, but apparently it works. So that's really cool. Yeah, there's 2 earrings. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and attach. Oh, I love this so much. And it was so easy to make, especially compared to the necklace. There we go. Okay, so I need some jump rings, and I believe I have some here. I feel like everything I've been doing is sort of monotone, but I have little pops of color here and there, right? Ooh, Suzanne is raring to go with the new kit. I believe, in fact, I'll probably have some available, but beyond that, I'll have a ton more available here soon. I'm actually waiting on some cords to come in that complete the kit, so that'll all be uploaded later, but I promise there'll be some left over for you. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab some 6mm jump rings and secure them onto the SilverSilk chain as well as the tiara cast component here. Little charm. Oh, there we go. These are so adorably dainty. I'm so into it. And I believe, do I have? No. I need to grab some real quick. What I was looking for was I usually have some spare ear wires around. There we go. Had to grab a package of them real quick though. So now I'll just take my little stoppers off. Or you know what, actually, yeah, I do want it to face. So here's a funny thing that I learned about earrings is that either they are flat or they face out, and I had no idea how these are typically worn because I don't really wear earrings a whole lot. Doesn't really go with my outfits, so what can I say? And I don't have my ears pierced, so that's also kind of stopping me from wearing earrings. But I didn't realize that when some of us wear them, that the earring has to be kind of directly perpendicular to, whoops, let me hold it up on camera so you can see, to the face of the actual earring. So it's one of those considerations I never really thought about, but there it is. You could put certainly a jump ring on there and connect it that way, and that would just give you a nice flat earring. There we go. M is asking, are you going to do something from both kits next week or just one? That's a great question, M. I'm going to do the Neon Dragon kit first, but I'm going to switch because there's only 2 kits this time. So the first week of June, I'm going to do the Neon Dragon kit, and then for the following week, I'm going to do the Cherry Blossom, and then I'm going to go back to the Neon Dragon and then finish out with Cherry Blossom. So there'll be a ton of designs with just the one kit, but hopefully that'll give you guys some ideas on what to do with them. Again, it's going to be packed with very unusual items that you would be like, what am I supposed to do with this? But don't worry, I am going to show you all kinds of fun stuff of what you can do with it. I've always got some designs in mind, I guess, to work it out, you know? Okay, as promised, flat mesh. Now, that's 2 pieces done. But I wanted to create something really simple and statement-y. I don't know if that's an actual word or not, but we're gonna go with it. And I happen to have some wire out that is, it is the craft wire from Softflex, in fact, and it's the 22 gauge gold that I was using earlier. What I think I wanna do, something a bit more, I don't know, I wanna do a statement, another statement piece down here, but I want to do something a little less florally. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to use my flat mesh ropes. I'm going to use the 22 gauge wire to string those beautiful nuggets onto. And or maybe these little powder, yeah, it was a powder blue jasper. And I want to take some of the bone color beading wire and kind of create this sort of free flowy spiral around my nuggets. Now, how to do that is another thing. So let's start with the one thing that we do know how to do, and that's to string on the beads and create a pendant down here. So what I'm going to do is grab my round nose pliers. I'm going to grab the first pair that I got, and of course it's going to be soft flex. So I'm going to then make myself a nice wire wrap loop and connect it to one of my chains there. Okay, grab a pair of chain nose pliers. You could probably get away with doing a simple loop instead of a wire wrapped one, but I feel like just in a wire wrapping mood today. And sometimes it's just good for practice, you know? There we go. Trim and tuck. Brilliant. Okay, so now I can kind of design how I want this to be. Do I want all three stones? Do I want one? Do I want to mix them up? It's all up to you guys. You know, actually, kind of digging this, I don't know, 2 stones with 1 stone. Oh, I really like that. Okay, so I'm gonna go with that, which you can't see, of course, because it's off camera. Sorry. Look at that. I think that's really cool. So now it's just a matter of stringing everything on. Hey, Joy, it's good to see you on here. I'm glad you could join in on this fine evening on Tuesday tutorials. My bracelet clasp, which is magnetic, by the way, is picking up everything on my table. I don't know if that happens to you guys or not. Sometimes it's funny and sometimes it's annoying. So. Okay, so as you can see, I kind of get some arc with the wire, or I could leave it straight, but I think it's too big to leave not in an arc. So I really like the way that that looks, and so I can kind of proceed with making the second loop. We go, and I'm just gonna lift up. String that on, and go back through and wrap this around. Now I promised some soft flex interaction in this, and I do have a plan for that. I guess I'm in a gold mood today, because almost all the pieces that I used have gold in them. I just really love gold, what can I say? We all have that one color that we tend to like use over and over subconsciously. Mine happens to be gold. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do is grab some of that beautiful bone color yet again, and I'm going to actually measure out a foot of this. So we'll do 6 inches and 6 more. That should be pretty sufficient enough to do this technique that I have in mind. And I will also need some gold crimps, of course. Suzanne is asking a really good question. Nile, are you going to get any more of that rose gold chain in stock? The answer is yes, but the flip side of that answer is not super immediately, I'm afraid. I am in the process of producing SilverSilk, but there have been some unfortunate delays just due to the nature of this awful pandemic and trying to also make sure that I get my ducks in a row for figuring out how to get it produced and all that stuff, you know? So I'm very close to finalizing a lot of stuff, and it's very exciting, but I appreciate you guys bearing with me to be able to comfortably accommodate to this new role that I'll be taking on. It's not an easy change, but it is going to be something that's going to be great for the future, and especially because I will have full creative control over it, and I envision a lot of things that's going to happen, but part of that is just making sure that I make the time to get it correct, especially for you guys, because I owe it to you guys, I owe it to myself, and I owe it to the name SilverSilk. Okay, so what I did was I just connected the beading wire, and by connect I mean attach and crimp, to the round wire wrap loop that I made. And this is sort of where the fun part comes in. Ultimately, I don't know how this is going to go, but we're just going to do our best here. What I want to do is to twist it around the beads. Now, obviously, if I go back through and do this, it's not going to quite look right because of the nature of how this wire tends to work. What I can do, though, is curl it with my fingernail. And you see what's happening here? Now, kinks are usually a bad thing, but in this case, I'm exercising my ability to make ringlets out of this beautiful beading wire. And now what I can do is go back through and kind of work this around, and it'll keep its beautiful structure and ringlets in place and give it just a nice free-flowing effect, as you can see. What I could also do is go back through... my bracelet's sticking to everything, you guys. It's driving me nuts. I'm gonna move my tools out of the way. Or just take my bracelets off. Note to self, don't use magnetic clasps for everything, so what can I say? What I can do is actually go back through and put in some of those seed beads if I wanted to, which actually might be kind of cool. Especially if they're moving around. I think that'd be a beautiful color combination. So let's do it while we're here. I'm gonna carefully grab my cutters. There we go. And I'm just gonna string from one thing to the other. And I don't want to crimp it actually onto this wire or anything. I want to leave it kind of free-flowing. And just, you know, let it be on the wire. Just let it do its thing. You could definitely put on as many or as a few as you want, just to get yourself as much color, pops of color. Joan says, I didn't know you could curl beading wire. Yeah, I discovered that, and I don't think it's truly my discovery or anything like that, but I thought of the wire differently as I saw it whenever I screwed it up. I was making a project and curled it too hard by accident, and then realized that I could use it as part of my design. Instead of cutting new wire, I just recycled it into something else. And sometimes you never know where inspiration is going to come from. Whenever you make mistakes, you can't look at it as a mistake. You have to re-envision it as an opportunity instead. I think that's a weird metaphor for life in general. Not to go all philosophical on you on a beading show here, but I try and keep things up as optimistic as I can. So that's kind of cool. I think I'm going to do a few more beads here. I really like how airy and beautiful it looks. Again, just keeping with the very cool architectural feel, but with a very soft color palette. I think is a really nice juxtaposition of design elements that play well together. Oh, Em, I don't know if I answered. I'm not sure which question you're pertaining to, if you asked a new one outside of what you asked earlier. Okay, so I'm gonna curl it around a few times. There we go. And you see how just like really cool and organic that looks. So yeah, I'll go back in with my crimp and string up my crimp. Go through my wire wrapped loop. Woo, there we go. Important to get a good grasp on it. And then kind of pull it up. There, close. There we go. I love it. I love it so much. Okay, so I'm going to crimp it as we practiced earlier, making sure that it's all the way in the notch and then working it around and around. This is so good because I don't have to use crimp covers or anything like that. It just works well with the design that I have made here. And then I just go back in and trim this off. Gorgeous. Now you see, you just made a stunning wire wrapped pendant without it actually being wire. And what's great is if I smash this down or do anything, like, you know how half hard wire would definitely warp as you wear it? Well, this is the beauty. This is the true beauty of what Softflex wire is. When you kink it and whenever you sculpt it, as it stays no matter how you use it. So it's going to always look this beautiful whenever you wear it, no matter how you wear it. All right, I just did a lot of designs in a semi-short amount of time, but let me talk to you guys about a few things real quick. Again, if you loved what I made tonight, please continue to check me out on tutorials here on SilverSilk and more. I love collaborating with Softflex Wire. My mystery kit, Tokyo Nights, is now out, so you can go to silversilkonline.com and grab it there. I know Softflex Wire has a new kit out tomorrow, as well as an unveil of Amazon Princess, which sounds so cool. I got a sneak peek at some of the bead strands and stuff on their website, and I love the themes so much. So you'll definitely want to tune in tomorrow on the Softflex Facebook page and watch Sarah make some cool stuff out of it. And they just are releasing tomorrow their next series of kits called Purple Polka Dot. So you'll want to check it out there as well. What else did I have? So many things. Check me out on YouTube as well. I've got a ton of videos finally uploaded and quite a library. So give it a like and subscribe, and just catch me on Instagram. I'm also on there. I'm trying to think of all the different social media. Sometimes it's overwhelming. Try and keep it all organized. Thanks, Maggie. I appreciate the comment. You guys be safe too. Thank you, Em. I think I answered your question earlier. You may want to rewind in this video and catch me on there whenever I answered it. So, alrighty. Well, I hope you guys continue to stay safe and creatively inspired, and continue to support our small businesses here online and through social media as well. So you guys have a wonderful night, and I will catch you on the next Tuesday tutorial, which will be the kickoff for Tokyo Nights. So you won't want to miss it. All right, good night.